Peak Performance Coach AJ Madden here. Today we will talk about one thing that can dramatically increase your success and your happiness. And this is principle number 2 from our 7-time mastery principles. And that principle is the power of one. And these 7 principles of time mastery are included in 1% Warrior Leadership, now available on Amazon and my website, coachajmadden.com. Let's jump into our second principle of time mastery, and that is the power of one. And this principle has its roots in the 80-20 principle, the Pareto principle. Here's a quote from Mel Robbins. Productivity can be boiled down to one word: focus. And when we're talking about the power of one, we are talking about laser focus. We are talking about focusing on the vital few. We are talking about simplicity. And that one, the number one, represents a laser minimal focus. And the happiest and most successful people I know continuously simplify and have laser focus on the vital few things that give them the biggest impact in terms of their success and happiness. When we talk about the power of one, we're talking about having one most important goal, one most important task for that goal, and one most important stop, what we need to stop doing, and also one most important person, someone who can serve as a model or guide for us. In terms of our one most important goal, as a leader, that can be a sales goal, increasing revenue or sales or profits. It could be being home by 6 o'clock every night to have dinner with the family. That can be our number one goal as a leader. It could be reducing costs. It could be hiring 3 new A-player leaders within the next 6 months in the organization. There's many options we have for goals. I love, in terms of our one most important goal, I love a 90-day time frame. I think that's long enough where we can get a lot done, and it's also short enough that it doesn't seem too far off, like a 6-month or 1-year goal. I find that 90-day time frame, or 12 weeks, or 3 months, it's all about the same thing, as a magic sweet spot in terms of goals. Having a 90-day and then a 5 to 10-year goal. And that say we pick a 5-year goal, that's just made up of a series of 90 days. So that's just 20 90-day cycles in terms of a 5-year goal. That's 5 years times 4 90-day cycles a year. That's just 20 90-day cycles of goals. In terms of one most important task, we're looking for the highest impact task, which we will get into. We'll discuss the 80-20 principle now. And here, the 80-20 principle essentially is that 20% of our activities lead to 80% of our results. And that number does not have to add up to be 100. That can be 10% of our activities lead to 100% of our results. So we're always looking for those vital few activities to get us the vast majority of our success and the vast majority, if not all, of our happiness as well. Let's talk about some 80-20 quotes from some thought leaders. This is from Brian Tracy, the 80-20 rule. 80% of the effects come from 20% of the causes. This means that if you are doing 10 tasks, 2 are going to be vastly more important than others. Another quote from Brian Tracy: 20% of your activities account for 80% of your results. And here's a quote from Charlene Johnson: 20% of everything you do is responsible for 80% of your successes. Here's a quote from Richard Koch, who wrote a book called The 80-20 Principle. And Richard is an investor. He was a consultant, and he's a very successful investor. And he brought the 80-20 principle to the forefront with this book. He talked about it. He was probably one of the first people, if not the first person, to really bring this to the forefront in terms of leadership success, business success, personal success. He says the 80-20 principle, that 80% of the results flow from just 20% of the causes, is one of the true principles of highly effective people. We can apply the 80-20 principle to all kinds of things. we can apply it to our health, our wealth, our relationships, and our happiness. Continuously focusing on the vital few things that really move the needle towards our success. So if we wanted to apply it to our number one 90-day goal, I would challenge you for the next 60 seconds to write down everything you can do to achieve that goal. Try to get 5 to 10 answers in 60 seconds. If you want to pause this video, go ahead. Now we will identify the highest impact activities. Now, if you got up to 10 things on this list in 60 seconds, identify the 1 or 2 things that will get you 80 to 100% of your results. If you only could choose one at the most 2 things on this list that would get you 80 to 100% of your results, what would that be? And that's usually going to fall under something that's difficult, the emotionally most challenging thing for you to do. I call that the heroic choice. That helps you identify what that 20% activity, that 10% activity that's going to get you 80% of your results or 100% of your results. So what I would do now is I would challenge you for the next 90 days to focus on that one thing, if you can get it down to one, that will get you 80 to 100% of your goal. And throw out the rest on that list and just focus on that highest impact activity. By focusing on one thing, it helps us to avoid overwhelm and just drowning in the 80% that barely move the needle. And again, this applies to everything. Out of the 150 to 200 peak performance principles that I have learned, practiced, and taught over the last 20 years, the 80-20 principle, this narrow focus, is easily in the top 3 most important in terms of success and happiness. If I could only teach a handful of principles for the rest of my life, the 80-20 would be at the top of the list. Absolutely. It's that powerful. And again, it's a Swiss Army knife of success. We can apply it to our health, our relationships, our work, and our happiness. Here's a quote from Gary Keller. He was the founder of one of the founders of Keller Williams Realty, and he says achievers always work from a clear sense of priority. They just continuously work from a clear sense of priority of what is most important for them to achieve their goals, and they just endlessly say no, which we'll get to here in one of our next principles of our 7 principles of time mastery in another video coming up. But it's a simple question we can ask ourselves is this getting us closer to our goal or farther away? Is it getting closer? Is this getting us closer to our goal or farther away? And that could be a person that we work with. That could be a task that we are doing. It's very binary. And we want to focus, again, with that 80-20 principle, we want to focus on those things that are getting us closer to our goals, not farther away. And all these things, again, they're pretty much binary. It's black and white. It's either getting you closer to your number one goal, our one most important 90-day goal, or it's not. Another way we can apply the power of one, this 80-20 principle, is our one most important stop. What's the one thing that we need to stop doing that's holding us back the most from achieving our goal, our number one goal, or overcoming our number one most important challenge? Stopping things is very overrated. Oftentimes, stopping things has an equal, if not more powerful effect on us achieving a goal or overcoming a challenge as it does to start something new. Stopping something is equally, if not more powerful than starting things so often. I'll give you an example from your health. Say your 90-day goal is to lose 10 pounds. Stopping processed sugar, to stop consuming processed sugar is equally, if not more powerful than adding something new to your diet. If you just, for most people, if they just remove processed sugar from their diet, they would achieve a weight loss goal. I'm not a nutritionist, and I'm not saying for all people, but that one thing for many people, stopping that one thing can have a tremendous impact on their health and on their ability to lose unhealthy weight. That's an easy example of stopping something. If you're a leader, an example of stopping something would be to stop avoiding difficult conversations. This is easily one of the most important things that I see leaders do, they need to, or not do, is difficult conversations. They're avoiding difficult conversations. So if you could stop avoiding difficult conversations as a leader and just have them on a daily or weekly basis, that will have a tremendous impact on your ability to lead and the results of your team and your organization. Just addressing those uncomfortable truths and stop avoiding them. Another one thing that we could focus on is a one most important person. This could be a mentor, it could be a coach, it could be someone that we model. Example of modeling would be we read about this person's life, we listen to them talk in interviews or lectures, we study their social media and things they talk about and how they operate. We read books that they wrote. There's all kinds of ways to study and model someone. Kobe Bryant modeled Michael Jordan. Jeff Bezos modeled Sam Walton. Warren Buffett modeled Benjamin Graham. And on and on and on. Oprah Winfrey modeled Maya Angelou. Extremely powerful. Finding one person to model. A level up is to find one person to mentor you or to coach you. And I suggest doing both, modeling and also mentoring. But in terms of effectiveness, having a mentor who can directly give you advice, who can analyze your particular situation and say, do this, don't do this. Someone who's 5 to 50 years ahead of you, or a coach who has done something that you want to do, who can guide you, who's 5 to 50 years ahead of you. Ultra powerful. So finding a one most important person, life-changing. I can't overstate how important it is. 80-20 principle, the power of one. If you found this video useful, please click like and subscribe. If you found this video helpful, please share it with someone that you believe will also find it helpful. Please pick up a copy of 1% Warrior Leadership, available on Amazon, on my website, coachajmadden.com, if you are looking to level up your leadership. This book is a compilation of the best things that I have learned over the last 20 years in terms of leadership. And this isn't just some book report. This is from being in the trenches of leadership and taking on leadership roles for over 20 years. This is the best of the best. This is the book I wish I would have had 20 years ago. And I know that you'll find many things in here that will help your leadership. I challenge you to practice the power of one and to understand and practice the 80-20 principle in everything you do in your leadership and in your life. And I wish everyone success and happiness. The power of one, 80-20 principle, one of the most powerful principles of success.